In this series of videos I'll try and explore potential theories of what happened the morning of the Chris Watts murders. I'll try and present an unbiased, objective view of what potentially took place that fateful morning and what potentially led to the various and many contradictions, coincidences with the use of the evidence that we have with the case. Because we all know, anyone who's ever took an interest in the Watts case, you get that gut feeling, the feeling you just can't shake, but something's not quite right with the story people have been fed, especially from mainstream media and law enforcement. What you're about to see and hear, all I ask is that you keep an open mind. Try not to have any presumptions or opinions too close that you already have, and just listen. So here it is, theory number 1 in the Chris Watts murders. On the Sunday night, Shanann was due home from a work trip, and Nichol Kessingers knew this. I believe Nichol Kessingers was a very jealous and paranoid person. She displays this in many interviews, comparing herself to Shanann, that Shanann's a person that likes materialistic things in life, and she described herself to not have any interest in them type of things. But I believe it's because she knew she didn't have them things and was jealous and envious of Shanann and the children Chris had with her. I believe her paranoia grew and grew over time, and especially getting frustrated that she was just a dirty little secret and second fiddle. And I believe NK didn't have any faith that Chris would in fact leave his wife. The evidence points to this also, with NK going to Google to search "man I'm having an affair with says he'll leave his wife." She had no faith in what Chris Watts was telling her, and the insecurities were massive. So back to Sunday night, when Shanann was due back, Chris and Nichol Kessingers held a 111-minute phone call, which to this day none of them can explain what they were discussing. But what if this was NK being so needy and insecure that she needed constant reassurance from Chris that they had a future, and that when Shanann came home he wouldn't be sleeping with her and kicking Nick Kessingers to the curb. So Kessingers knew Shanann was returning home that night and into the early hours. So it's part of my theory number 1 that this was playing on Kessingers' mind that much that she felt she needed to drive to Chris's house to spy on him leaving for work. The paranoia built up to a point where she had to see him, worrying she might see him kiss his wife goodbye or embrace her as he left for work. Kessingers knew everything about Chris. She knew everything about Shanann as well too. She even searched a year before Chris Watts and Shanann Watts, and we never got an explanation to that. So I believe she was there the morning of the 13th of August, sitting in her vehicle, watching, waiting to catch Chris with his wife. But she saw more than she was expecting. She literally was there watching Chris Watts load his dead wife's body onto his truck, and then his girls. And we know for a fact she was there. The evidence in the discovery file proves that, because her phone pinged in Frederick at 6:16 a.m. making a phone call, and probably to a good friend Jim, who she was so desperate to leave out of the investigation, maybe confiding in him what she'd just witnessed. The evidence in the discovery file on the case doesn't prove she actually went to work that day or not. We don't know for sure, but what we do know is that she texted Chris and asked about a cryptic song called Battery by Metallica, with creepy lyrics including the words "cannot kill the battery, cannot kill the family, battery is found in me." We know Chris Watts or whoever placed the bodies of his girls in oil tanks, and them tanks are called batteries. Was this her unsubtle way of saying, "Do not kill your family, Chris"? Because she knew if she simply texted it to him, she'd been accomplice to murder. So the next and best way to get a message to Chris was to ask him about lyrics to a song she knew he knew. And Nichol Kessingers was asking Chris about these lyrics the morning that he was disposing of his girls' bodies and his wife, where he'd just annihilated his entire family and placed his girls in an oil battery. It's so rare in life that we see genuine coincidences. So with the knowledge and her witnessing what she saw that morning, she went to law enforcement first, because she knew what Chris had done, and they would eventually come knocking, asking her questions. District Attorney Michael Rourke, in an interview, described the information that they'd learned from Nichol Kessingers as bombshell. And in my opinion, the fact that Chris Watts, a man, had a mistress and was having an affair with a woman isn't really bombshell level of info. So my question is, was she there that morning? And did she witness Chris Watts loading his wife's body onto his truck? And is that why to this day NK, Nichol Kessingers, is a ghost? She's not been seen or heard from or even blamed for anything from law enforcement or family members involved. Is it because she was there and she was their star witness, and she potentially made a deal to be forever protected because of the information she gave law? This is my theory number one, and take it how you will. The deeper you look, the more these ideas make sense, and the more the official story is just a smokescreen, because there's so many lies, so much evidence, and these so-called coincidences, but yet no answered questions. Thank you for watching.